You're watching CTOM TV. Knowledge is power.
Now I want to talk with you about safe practices when you're getting the essentials for life without getting COVID-19. So what we're talking about here are things like groceries, pet food, gas, takeout. There are some excellent resources online for best practices. One of the ones that a friend on Facebook shared with me is from a doctor in the United States, Dr. Jeffrey Van Wingen. I'm going to show you the YouTube link for his channel. It's very informative, and this is an excellent video that I want you to be able to watch as well. It's about how to tackle getting ready to go shopping, being at the store, bringing your groceries home, and doing everything you can to reduce the risk of exposure to COVID-19 to you or friends or family using Sterile Technique like they would in the hospital. There's a link to the YouTube, but again, I'm going to take you there in just a minute and show you how to find it online. General guidelines from Dr. Jeffrey Van Wingen are wherever possible, where appropriate, microwave your food a little bit. It doesn't take very long, but apparently the process of microwaving really eradicates the COVID-19 virus. Contradicting some common misperception, freezing does not help. As you can see here, it has been certain strains of coronavirus have been shown to still be alive out of the freezer after 2 years. In other words, if you were to take that bag of frozen blueberries that you just bought and you thought, I don't need to wipe this down, I don't need to practice Sterile Technique with this because it's going in the freezer, that'll take care of it. No, not unless you're going to leave it in there for more than 2 years apparently, and that's probably not what your plan is. So I want you to remember that just putting something in the freezer does not sterilize it and take care of the coronavirus. Microwave, much better, but I'm going to share Dr. Jeffrey Van Wingen's guidelines here. If you have a shopping service or delivery service coming to your house, you do not want to let that person in your home. I know it's kind of weird right now. There was a Facebook video of two folks in Asia passing each other in a stairwell, and under any other circumstances it would have seemed so odd and extreme, like you would have assumed that these people had obsessive compulsive disorder or something in terms of the distance they were keeping from each other, and yet really it's absolute best practices right now. So don't be concerned with what other people think, just keep yourself and the people you care about safe. So we're not going to let that delivery person into the house. We're going to have them leave the groceries on the porch, outside your door, and then we're going to talk about what to do when you bring them in. It's important to understand that coronavirus can live aerosolized outside the body for 3 hours. That means if somebody like that driver happens to, unbeknownst to them, be infected with COVID-19, or maybe the person who helped pack the groceries just happened to sneeze on your bag, and it took a few hours for that bag to get to your house, that COVID-19 virus is still alive and well on that bag, and you're about to pick it up and touch it and bring it into your home. So we want to keep that in mind. It can live on cardboard for 1 hour. So if that pizza delivery driver has been exposed to COVID-19, do not assume that just because it's takeout or just because it's cardboard, you're fine. That cardboard can carry that coronavirus live for up to 1 hour. And metal and plastics for 3 days. So those plastic bags, that plastic wrapper, those soup cans, 3 days. So if possible, best practices is leave those groceries in a porch or covered area, safe area for 3 days. It's not possible with some of the things that we're getting, just in terms of they might be perishable, as well as maybe you, like me, you live in a maybe rural area where there are literally bears and coyotes and all sorts of things. I can't really leave my groceries out. While you're shopping, you want to bring some wipes with you or some spray, antiseptic spray, and you want to make sure you wipe down the cart handles, anything that you're likely to touch that someone else almost certainly did touch. I want you to imagine that the person who used that cart before you had a toddler who has COVID-19 and who touched everything. sneezed, coughed everywhere, and do your best to make sure that you wipe everything down before you go into the store, before you touch that cart yourself. Also, Dr. Van Wingen suggests that you really think before you touch anything in the store, you commit to buying. So in other words, where we might normally stop and pick something up, look at the ingredients or the label, maybe caloric or fat content if you're watching these things. If you're diabetic, you might want to look, you might naturally look at the carbohydrate or sugar content. We're not going to be doing that now. We're going to have a sense of what we need to get. And before we touch anything, we're going to know that that's what we want. So we're just going to touch it once, pop it in our cart. If you have any respiratory symptoms, if there's any question in your mind, as much as you might very much like to believe that you're okay, err on the side of caution and don't go. Order delivery service, get someone to do these things for you. Really, for best practices, for everybody's sake, stay away. Anybody over the age of 60 ideally is not heading out right now either, because you're in that risk zone. I know sometimes you might need to go, you might be over 60 and you might be on your own. So that's even more important that you take all of these precautions that we're talking about today. When you go, think 2 weeks. You want to really minimize your exposure to the outside world for this next little while. So think, I want to get 2 weeks worth of groceries as best I can. Plan ahead to what you're going to buy so that you really minimize your time in the store. And as discussed, you want to only touch those things that you're going to take home. If you can, call ahead and have the store prepare things for you. So many grocery stores are inundated with these requests. So if it's groceries you're hoping to have delivered, you might have to be really patient. Definitely plan well ahead, like perhaps even a week ahead with your grocery store for your order to come here. You're going to order it here. Pet stores and pharmacies are a little more accessible, and they're more than happy to have you call ahead, prep your order, so all they have to do is pass it to you. When you get home, you want to follow Sterile Technique protocol. So what that means is before you even bring your groceries in the house, you've created some space on your counter with a workspace, and you've used a standard disinfectant on the whole space. Now what you're going to do is you're going to split your counter in half, and you're going to put the groceries that you've just brought in on one side, and you're going to leave the other half clear for once you've sanitized these to put that on. So there's going to be a nice sense of separation between these two. You're going to actively disinfect the outside of all packaging. You're going to use wipes or spray, depends on the product. Meaning if it's something that's got a cardboard wrapper or the type of wrapping that it is, the type of product that it is, a wipe might be more appropriate than a spray. But you, again, remember what I told you about the freezer. So the fridge is not a place where COVID-19 is going to die quickly if it can live for 2 years in the freezer. Wherever possible, remove the external packaging. So for example, if you brought a box of cereal home, you can take the plastic sealed bag out of the cardboard bag, put the cardboard in the garbage, and put the plastic packaging on this nice clean side of the cupboard for now, or the counter for now. Where possible, use alternative storage containers. So let's say you just brought a loaf of bread home. You're going to pop the bread out of the plastic bag into a Tupperware or some other storage container. That plastic bag that just came home from the store that could have been touched by a worker or another shopper who has been infected with COVID-19 without knowing it is now going to go into your garbage, and your bread is COVID-free. Fruits, oranges, apples, vegetables should be soaked in soapy water before you put them away. Each piece of fruit can be washed for 20 seconds, just like you would wash your hands, and that's going to help you to know you've done your best to avoid bringing COVID-19 into your home. If you use cloth bags, and many supermarkets have already gone to the point where they don't have plastic bags for you to use, and good for you if you do use cloth bags, but I want you to assume that they are infected and leave them outside for 3 days or more. If you're only going shopping every 2 weeks, that's okay. Leave them outside for 3 days or more, then throw them in the washing machine. Do not assume that they're fine. assume they are not. When it comes to takeout, we want to do essentially the same practice. Sanitize your countertops, separate the space in half, have the space for the stuff that just came in, and have a plate or a bowl as appropriate on this other side of the counter. And you're going to take everything out of the takeout containers without touching the takeout containers to your plate or bowl. You're going to put the food in there. Same thing with sauces like ketchup packs. You can squeeze the ketchup or the sauce onto the plate. Don't touch the packaging to your plate. Put it back in the bag in which it came. Dispose of all that packaging. Put it outside. Leave it for at least 3 days before you touch it again. Once you've done all that, you're going to wash your hands with soap again for 20 seconds, and then you can relax. It takes probably an extra 10 or 15 minutes if you've done a sizable grocery shop. I have a family of 4. So there's usually quite a lot of groceries coming in. So 10 to 15 minutes, do a really good job of this sterile technique that we just talked about. But then you've got peace of mind. You know that whatever you're eating, whatever you've just brought into your house is not going to harm you or your family. If any part of you is thinking that this is overkill, there's an excellent episode of Mythbusters. What I'm going to do right now is just take you to YouTube. And I'm going to show you, let's see here. Let's back up the bus here a little bit. Here's Dr. Van Wingen. Let's just let him introduce himself.
Help you shop safer. Rapids, Michigan, with 20 years experience. The point of this video is to help you shop safer and get takeout food safer during the stay-at-home shutdown due to the coronavirus pandemic. Today,
yes. So you'll see here in your window, just enter Jeffrey Van Wingen into the search, and you'll see he's got a wonderful video, PSA Safe Grocery Shopping, and he really walks you through. You can see he's got that tape down the center of his counter. He's really serious about this sterile technique and does a really good job of educating you on why it's important and how to do it.
Thank you for watching Cetome TV. Subscribe below and stay informed.